Okay, nice. So yeah, short introduction. So Sajana and I, Lena, have always done these sort of talks, but more over phone. And yeah, then we had the idea, why not record it and just share maybe this conversation in the end as well. So this is sort of our first little session. And yeah, we actually met in Sydney, and yeah, it was super nice having that opportunity to meet you. And since then, we actually have kept in contact and always have these deeper discussions, which I really enjoy. So yeah, that's sort of a bit of a background. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, no, that kind of sums it up. I remember when Lena left, I was like, I always missed that I couldn't hang out with her more. And I just thought, why not just give her a call? And, I just gave her a call, and then I was just going to be 5 minutes, but then it turned to like 3.5 hours. And I was like, this was amazing. And I just kept in touch because I've never had such good conversations before.
Yeah. Same for me as well. So that's super nice. And what we thought of doing now is I'm going to share a book. It's called, no, it's the wrong way around, but it's called The 7 Natural Laws of Love by Deborah Anna Paul. And I actually got this book from a good friend also from Sydney. He sent it to me, and yeah, since then I've been reading it, rereading it, and yeah, I just thought of reading like 2 short pages. And the main topic is sort of about, or this chapter I'm going to read from is called The Law of Forgiveness. And yeah, it's basically looking at and talking about forgiveness in love relationships as well, but it goes also deeper than that. So yeah, I highly recommend the book. And yeah, to begin, I'm gonna read a small section. So let's begin. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, the habits of a lifetime. A friend of mine was looking for a special woman with whom to create a relationship that soars, as he put it. I asked him to describe how he would go about this. It all sounded good to me until I heard 0 criticism. Not that I'd object if someone's criticism could be eliminated entirely, but to me it seemed more realistic to acknowledge the deeply etched grooves of finger pointing and practice forgiveness if criticism popped up. His response was to make a distinction between communicating, "There's something wrong with you," versus "There's something I'd like you to look at," or "This doesn't work for me." The first he considered criticism, which was "There's something wrong with you." The next 2 were not, which were "There's something I'd like you to look at," or "This doesn't work for me." The difficulty is that when people are triggered, the distinction may not be made by either the listener or the talker, or both. Many of us come from generations of finger pointers. Even if we don't ever want to communicate, "There's something wrong with you," in the heat of an argument, it might come out that way. Some people are so sensitive to criticism, they might hear "There's something wrong with you," even when what was said was very clearly "This doesn't work for me." The habits of a lifetime will probably result in speaking, acting, and reacting at times in ways that are less than exemplary, no matter how strong your commitment to embrace the 7 laws of love. But if you make it a habit to forgive yourself as well as others, you can take up permanent residence in the space of love. So that was sort of, yeah, a very small section. And yeah, to just sum it up a bit, it talked about the point of criticism, and that's actually where I want to start as well. So I asked myself the question, what do I view as criticism? So now I actually, pose the question to you. What is criticism for you?
Criticism is someone else's opinion on you that doesn't agree with them, where you did something that would feel more natural to you, but it's something that maybe because of a different culture, different reasons, they wouldn't find as acceptable, and even in some cases they would be offended, maybe deeply hurt by it. Something that if you repeat it would hurt them even more, and criticism would be something they're telling you so that you could maybe not do that, maybe compromise on that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell, that's what I think it is.
So you would call it unnatural or unnatural?
I think without criticism, you can't grow. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to grow, it's natural, because if you don't want to accept criticism, you're going to be stuck in your own little world, in a little bubble that's not
Yeah.
reality. And then you're going to have a great fall one day. Yeah,
Yeah.
so criticism is key to growing and improving. I think evolution even happens with criticism. But yeah, it's very important. I think it should be natural. Yeah, for a human being, it should be natural.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. Like for me, what I thought was, you need to, as you said, criticism is important for you as a person, but also for society to grow and to evolve. And I also feel that it sort of can be, like, I like to call it more constructive criticism, because criticism can often be more like negative. You're sort of sometimes, as in the book she referred to, finger pointing. So it's more like, oh, you are doing this wrong. Like
yeah,
that's not the way to do it. But I see it
yeah.
more as something I consider, like if someone gives me personally criticism, I now, as I am here, I sort of see it more as, as a pointer, and as a something to reflect on. Okay, is that maybe, do I maybe overreact in a situation, or
Mm.
something along those lines, and use it more as a opportunity to learn from that and to evolve and grow. But I remember also when I was younger, and still something I've been working on, is to not take it too personal. Like
Mm.
for me, criticism, if someone said like, oh, this was not a good paper you wrote, for example, I remember school stuff, then I would just get very hurt, and I would like lose confidence, and it would just sort of crumble. I would crumble away.
Huh?
So it's also this fine line of taking it, like listening to what people say, but also reflecting upon it. But don't take it into your heart. I don't know how else to say it, but I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
Well, if you look at it in another way, let's say, for example, I enjoy chatting with you, yeah?
Mm,
But let's say I keep saying something, maybe it's a word I always keep repeating that annoys you a lot, but
yeah.
then you're too nice and you try to like avoid it, suppress it, and then every day we talk about it, and then one day you just kind of get something else triggered you, and then you just
Mm-hmm.
let it out when you were venting. And I would feel really bad that I if I wish I would have known it beforehand so I could stop,
Mm-hmm.
because I think if, let's say, you were doing that to me, something you were saying to me that I found very annoying, but I didn't want to say it, then it'll just start corrupting every conversation. Like every time you say it,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get annoyed, and then I can't focus on how good the conversation is.
Yeah.
So what I learned is that if it's better to criticize upfront as soon as you feel it, even if it's right or wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you really care about someone, you wouldn't want them to be uncomfortable with something you do. I think
Yeah.
that's what compromise is. And it's initially, no matter what, if someone says something, your initial reaction, you get a bit hurt, you get a bit sad, you get a bit defensive. But if you give
Mm-hmm.
yourself some time to think about it, you can come back and just maybe apologize for doing it, maybe apologize if you had an overreaction. And then I
Mm.
feel like that becomes something like that you can put into your own foundation and get stronger together.
Yeah, but I also think that with criticism, especially giving criticism,
Yeah.
I think crucial how you do it. How do you say it? Especially like if you look on the book again, she said that, or the friend she was talking to, he viewed criticism in this phrase, there's something wrong with you. That was criticism to him. But the phrases, I'd like you to look at, or this doesn't work for me, that he didn't view as criticism, but it's just a different way of phrasing it, and it's not as aggressive, like, oh, you're wrong, you're doing this wrong, you know? So I think key about criticism is how you phrase it, and not in a attack sort of way, but more as a sort of advice. And I think often it helps as well if you're sort of a bit, it can be both sides actually. It can be helpful if you're friends and you have like a sort of a more open sort of relationship. Then I think it's I would, for example, appreciate if you tell me, oh, this really annoys me, or like if you have some criticism, you know, and that would, I think, make the relationship grow. And that's also what she talks about in love relationships or any relationships. You know, it's important to give criticism to grow, but also to receive criticism. And that's sort of what we also talked about a bit already. The receiving part of not taking it too personal, and just feel very hurt by it. I think that's sort of the danger of receiving. I think that sort of can be difficult sometimes. I don't know, have you had that experience?
Oh my God, yes, I have. I think sometimes it's good to remember that sometimes it's not you versus me, kind of. It's more like we both against everything else. Like, we don't want to fight against each other. We just want to try to improve what we have. It's very hard in the moment, but I think we should always try to remember that. Like, we're not trying to hurt you. We're not trying to like dismiss your ideas. We're not trying to put you down. I think the key objective should be to try to portray a point without making it look like you're killing someone, you're committing a crime. And I think you should say it in something you could say like, I'm sorry, I'm not being mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but this is something I get triggered by a bit, and I just wanted you to know. Because even when you read the book, the first phrase, when it says you, it's your fault. When I initially, when you said it, I was like, I just got defensive for no reason. I just think it's a natural human reaction. I was like, oh my God, whoa. Yeah, the initial reaction was like, no, it's your fault. Like, but it's very important to remember that it's you, it's not you versus each other, it's you both trying to get better and improve. And it's very important because it's important, like you said, how you give it. You should always be sensitive to other person's feelings also, and vice versa. When they're receiving, when they're saying it to you, you should also understand that it must be hard for them to say it also, and kind of try to accept it. And then work through it. Maybe if you can get through that, maybe you guys could just go out and have a fun day, just because you guys made each other feel awkward. Just make it a fun memory. Make it fun. But it's hard to do, because sometimes it's so intense. Like, I've been in intense situations where then it just becomes a shouting match, like, oh, you're saying it's my fault, so I'm the problem, it's not you. And then you just start going on a rant, like, oh, but 10 years ago you didn't put the trash out, so I never brought up that. And then it becomes so childish. It's so easy to like lose control.
Like, also, as she said here in the book, some people are so sensitive to criticism, they might hear there's something wrong with you, even though you say there is this doesn't work for me, you know. So that means it's something to do with me, but it just gets triggered in you, in your reaction to something, or what you say or what you do. And I think also, personally, I've also gotten into like a defense mode. Like, I remember, for example, at the Utrecht Mobility Challenge, that was a challenge where we had to come up with ideas how to improve mobility in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and we had to give a pitch of our idea. And I remember that one of the mentors was like giving some criticism point, and I was then afterwards starting like yeah, but we're going to do this and this, like trying to sort of counter what he said. And then the main leader of the program said, like, just say thank you and accept it, you know, you don't have to defend yourself or anything. And that was sort of a click moment, because for me, that wasn't like, I didn't notice this as being defensive. I was more, I guess, yeah, justifying, which is sort of defending myself as well, you know. So yeah, that was sort of a really good good lesson. And in that moment I was very shocked. I was like, are you kidding? Like, I just want to say something, you know. I got more and more defensive, but afterwards I realized that that it's just accept what people say, and then you can reflect afterwards and think about it. And yeah, and especially I think also with criticism, it can be that it hits, if I, like, you receive criticism and it hits a very like vulnerable point that you are sort of already maybe aware of, that you have to work on, but then someone is like criticizing that more, you're like, it's so easy to just block off and get into that defense mode. And yeah, I think sometimes it just needs time. You have to step back, and then you realize, okay, maybe I overreacted or I got too defensive, you know? Yeah.
True. And if you ever did, I think it's also important to like let the person know that you did overreact, and you apologize for that, and you thank them for the criticism. And so you don't really create like a bad, you don't give a bad image or a bad trail.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and what's also interesting is in this book, he said that the ideal relationship would be to have zero criticism. And that's that was also something where she was responding a bit like, I agree, criticism is not the nicest thing, but it helps you grow, you know. So yeah, what are your thoughts of that, this idea, what he calls zero criticism?
I think if a relationship has zero criticism, it's like a bomb that's about to explode. I feel like there's just two people suppressing or probably doing something else, that it's not ideal for a long-term relationship. I mean, no matter what, everyone's different from each other, and when you're with a partner, I think it's that you love a lot of good things about them, that you're willing to compromise. Both parties are willing to compromise and reach like an even ground. But you have to accept that you guys are different. There are different tastes, and no matter how perfect the person may seem, they might have quirks that would, like, you would get annoyed by small things, and you need to accept that. I think it's part of what love is. It's not always the beauty and the glamour and candlelight dinners and all. Gotta have those conversations. And I feel like if you can like, you know, criticize and improve, it just puts you both more together. Like, you have one more thing to work with, you can work on it together, and it just becomes another great memory that, you know, that just makes the foundation of a relationship much stronger. And there are fights. You have to understand, if you believe there's no fights, you're going to get traumatized with the first fight you have. You have to understand there are fights, but like, just remember that it's not you versus me. It's more like I'm kind of venting it out because I can't control it, and maybe give each other some time and then talk about it calmly and move on.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to the next point, because the chapter, as I said, is called Forgiveness. So also what she says in this book is the importance of forgiving. For example, if you had a fight and you screamed at each other, or you said like hurtful things to each other, it's this element in relationships as well of forgiveness, and forgiving the other, but also forgiving yourself about what you said that was very hurtful to the other person, because you just got into this like anger mode, and then things came up. And here is actually a nice nice quote she wrote in the book, which I'm just going to read out. And it says, to say that one forgives and then not to forget is not to forgive at all.
Mm.
I'm going to read it one more time. To
That's
say
cool.
that one forgives and then not to forget is not to forgive at all. So, yeah, what are your initial thoughts about this?
Yeah, just it sounds like the person just wants to get out of that uncomfortable situation. So they're like, yeah, okay, I forgive you. But then the next time they're angry and they go on a rant, they're definitely bringing it up. It just gets suppressed more, and it's more like, and technically, initially maybe the fault was the other person's, but once they said I forgive you, it's kind of their responsibility. If they didn't forgive, then they can tell them like, it's just hard for me to give me some time and I'll forgive you, but right now I can't. You can easily say that.
Yeah.
I think it's in a relationship or something. I think it's better to be honest. Like if you're gonna lie to someone you want to spend the rest of your life with, why would you? If you can't be honest with them, you have to really take a long, hard look at yourself and what the relationship is about. Like what is more important, the pride, a bad 10 minutes of bad moment, or ruining a lifetime together by something very insignificant.
Yeah.
But yeah, the phrase is very, very important. Like you have to forgive and learn to forget, or maybe understand why it happened. And though I also believe that if you do make a mistake, like let's say for me at least, if let's say I did something very bad to you, I said something very insulting to you, I would feel very guilty because I care about you, and in that one moment I just kind of felt like I ruined everything. So I feel like it's important to show that you can't just call up and be like, oh hey, I'm sorry about yesterday, all right, goodbye. Kind of have to like to convince the person. I think you have the responsibility to convince the person that you really are sorry. And so I think some sort of gesture is important. Maybe I think just saying you're sorry is not also enough. For me, at least, if I was in that situation, like it won't even appease my guilt, and I know it won't make the other person feel better. Like I feel like it's important to do something that would make them really happy, something out of something, I don't know, something that makes them feel special, something that makes them understand that that was just the one moment that you really didn't mean the words you said.
Yeah, I think it's also, at least for me, I think actions are a lot more powerful than
definitely.
words, because people can just talk and talk and talk, but nothing actually is going to change. And if you feel someone actually took the effort of making something, or I don't know, just thought about it, and not just was like, oh, it's the easiest way, I'm sorry, and then you move on. But if someone really makes the effort of thinking and creating an idea, that doesn't have to be much. Like you don't have to buy anything. It can just be spending time together, doing something really special, you cooking, or I don't know, something like that. Can be
something
simple.
small, sweet.
Yeah.
It can be very simple. Yeah, it doesn't need to be like a luxury package or something.
No. Actually, the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's really important. But actually, when I read this quote first, I was like, I don't like this quote.
Really?
because
That's surprising.
because I was like, but because I think it just hits a point for me where I sometimes have a problem with forgiving, I think. Like it's not as easy, because what happens for me is, so I often with friendships, I'm very easygoing and easy to get along with, and it takes a long time till someone irritates me, or and then, but if it happens and it's been reoccurring, I tend, I'm sort of working on that, but if I look back, I tended to be a person who doesn't communicate it directly. So it builds up and builds up and builds up. And then it sort of explodes at some point.
Yeah.
And then for me, there is not really a way back. But like, if it's really, it has exploded and it has reached its limit, then this friendship is over. And then there's no coming back. Like it of course, it depends on how serious what it was. But I have that with one person, and I don't know. Often when I still think about what happened, like the initial response is like not forgiveness, like still a bit this like anger. but I think the more I think about it, like, what does it help you to be angry now, or to keep that going, you know, like it actually robs so much energy of you. And I don't really think about it much, but sometimes with certain people it pops up again, and then I'm like, I'm like annoyed, and yeah, it sort of takes a lot of my joy. And I think that is, yeah, something for sure I have to work on to sort of let that grudge go. And forget it, you know, not just let it go, but like forget it. And that forgetting part, oh, that's difficult, man.
Probably because you kind of suppressed it a bit, and it just you exploded to the point when you couldn't hold it in. So by then it's probably like 10 times as big as when it started.
Yeah.
So even when you exploded, it's still there. It was never really resolved, maybe. On that note, sorry.
Yeah,
On
I
that
think.
note, sorry. If it's not important. I was just saying, if there's something annoying about me, just please tell me now.
Yes,
please
I will.
Let me know now.
No, that's also been in the past. Like that has been a few years ago, so it's fine. Like, but and I'm more communicative now about if things annoy me. But yeah, I think as well, it's just it has sort of piled up, or also, yeah, it was just something that happened, which sort of, I think it in more initially, I think it just shocked me because I expected the least of that person. So I think that was sort of the surprise, and also in a way it wasn't really resolved. Like it was sort of a bit, yeah, the chapter wasn't closed. So I think that's also a big part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 10 more minutes.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, though. It's been tough.
Yeah, that's why I actually also chose this chapter, because I felt like it resonates with me, and I have something sort of, it triggers something in me, which was really nice.
Wow.
So yeah, we did sort of cover. Did you do you want to add anything else about forgiveness or criticism, or
well, all I know is from your story, I think the only good thing you took out of it was you know what can happen if it goes the wrong way. You have experienced it, so you firsthand know what would happen if you kind of suppress it. So I think maybe that experience served as more of a lesson than a satisfactory moment. So
yeah,
I think that's all.
Yeah, I also think maybe a message to take from this is to, as we both said, to share pretty instantly, or not instantly, take a step back, reflect, okay, why is this annoying me? Is this more about me or the other person? And then think about how to voice that criticism in a more calm way, for sure, and in a respectful way, that the other person doesn't feel attacked by your criticism. Yeah, I think that's sort of the takeaway. And also, of course, like forgive yourself and forgive others if the way how they said the criticism or you phrased the criticism wasn't very respectful, and it ended up in a fight. Like, forgive yourself and forget. And it sounds easier than it is.
Oh, it's definitely easier. That's why it's so easy to do a lot of things. That's why you said actions are more important than words.
Yeah, exactly.
Words both ways. Yeah.
Exactly. Like take actions, showing your forgiveness, and and just let that grudge go. So yeah, for anyone, I'm just going to show the book again, or I can also put it in the phrases.
7 natural laws of love.
Yes.
So love the cover photo. Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And yeah, maybe I'm going to read some more next time out of this book. And yeah, thank you so much for this conversation. It was super nice. And yeah, I bet we're gonna have some more some other time as well.
Oh, it's lovely. Like I love it.
Nice, super nice. Okay,
Thank you, Lena.
bye bye.
Bye. See ya.